Hey guys, today we are going to do a build guide for Project Ascension again. This time it's going to be the Ret Paladin one with the light build that I've been playing the past couple of weeks in 1v1 arena. This build is a very strong build for dueling 1v1 or high risk. Because we have a lot of CC, a lot of healing, we can reset quite often and heal back up. And slowly, I guess, burn out your opponent's cooldowns and keep them CC'd while you sort of control the fight and heal up whenever you take too much damage. And then just kind of rinse and repeat with your damage and then heal and damage and heal and take down most builds. Okay, so let's go over the gear first. The gear is pretty much the same as my prop paladin. We're using the paladin PvP set, using 5 pieces of this, except for the shoulders. The shoulders is the judgment set. We're using a 3-piece judgment set to get a little bit more attack power and spell power. And the off pieces are the caster offsets. For the weapon, I went with the staff this time, just because it was doing a little bit more damage than the sword. I noticed when I was testing it. So using this, just using a gun for the or a bow for the crit chance, and so we can apply the critical strike enchant as well. And the goal of this build is to get a lot of spell crit. We want to get as much spell crit as possible. You see we're at about 32% holy spell crit, and well, actually probably a little bit more once we buff up. Let's just see. Alright, so about 34%, 34.5% holy crit, and that goes up to about 40 something ish when we get our arcane precision to proc. And we want to have a lot of crit, mainly because I chose to go for blinding light for one of my main CCs, and in order to make this instant, what do you call it, instant cast, we have to get a crit with Holy Shock for this Infusion of Light, and the Infusion of Light talent will make our Blinding Light a instant cast. So a little bit RNG, even with 34.5% crit chance. Actually, we have a bit more on our Holy Shock because of talents and REs. I think Holy Shock right now is about 46% chance, crit chance, and even with that, you can go. I've gone some games with like 7 or 8 Holy Shocks in a row, and none of them crit, and that can feel pretty bad and probably make you lose some games. So maybe going with Repentance would have been a better idea, but I kind of like Blinding Light. I think it has a very cool sound effect, and it's AoE, so you can CC pets and your target at the same time, so it's very nice. Okay, so let's go over the REs real quick. We're using Sanctified Light, so we get another 6% crit chance on our Holy Shock. There is no, let's just see. There is no green RE for Holy Shock crit. Most spells, like say Smite, look at Smite. You have this critical smite enchant that's, another 2% per RE. And if this existed, I probably would use that instead of this Vanquishing Storm. But sadly, there's none of this green enchant for Holy Shock, so we're just using this for the 6% crit chance. And then we have Vanquishing Storm. This RV is one of the blue ones that you can change around if you want, depending on which RE you want to use. There are a couple of other good ones we can go over real quick. So obviously any of the wizards ones would be good, like Wizards Holy Shock would be very good, so you get extra spell power, you get some mana back. Wizard's Judgment might be good too. So any of these wizard ones would be a good replacement for this if you don't want the Vanquishing Storm. However, this is a very fun RE. See, we get 15% crit on our Divine Storm. And Divine Storm is actually usually our top damage ability. So giving it that extra 15% crit does feel very good. Also in open world, high risk, if you're out there and there's a bunch of mobs around you, say you're at like 20% health and you Divine Storm like 5 or 6 mobs, you're going to heal up to full basically, just because the amount of extra healing that this RE gives. So kind of a fun one to use when you're out in high risk. Alright, so Healing Light. Just using 2 here because we had 2 slots left over, just so we get a little bit more healing on our Flash of Light, Holy Shock, and Holy Light. We're using 1 Holy Power enchant, so we get some extra Holy Crit. And then Seals of the Pure. Our Judgment actually isn't doing that much damage. It's like, they've nerfed Judgment so much now, it's like, it does like 250 to 300 crits, by the way. And that's like, less than some dots do in PvP right now. It's kind of funny. You know, a 10-second cooldown ability doing less damage than a single dot tick, but whatever. Ascension balance. No, don't really want to get into that too much. But the seal damage is very good on this build. Seal of Righteousness is about, you know, number 2 to 3 on the DPS usually. So having the extra seal damage is very nice. Alright, so Tooth and Nail, we're using this because we use Shockwave, and this will give our Shockwave, it will change it from a 4-second stun to a 5-second stun when we have 3 stacks. So it's very nice to have this. Then Ward of Light, this is probably the RE that makes Divine Storm like one of the best abilities in the game, mainly because you can dispel magic effects. So like say Frost Mage, they cast they put you in an Ice Nova. If you Divine Storm and hit something, then you'll probably remove the Ice Nova and you keep going. And then on top of that, when you take magic damage, you get a chance to reset the cooldown of Divine Storm, so you can like Divine Storm, and I've had this proc like 3 times in a row. You know, you just do 3 Divine Storms in a row, and yeah, it feels very good. It also increases the damage of Divine Storm by 5%, which is pretty nice. Alright, next RE, this epic RE can be changed around for something else. This is one slot that's not really a mandatory RE. You can kind of put whatever you want here. I like the extra crit, melee crit chance, very nice. And this combined with this gives about, what, 20% crit chance to Divine Storm, which is, or 19%, is pretty crazy, I think. Okay, so you could change this to, you know, some other RE that, you know, like Faithful Flex, if you want a little bit more damage. Or, I don't really know what else you would want to use, but you can change this to whatever you want. Alright, and for the legendary enchant, we're going with One with the Light. This is the, I guess the whole point of the build is that we change our, what do you call it, Crusader Strike and Divine Storm into holy damage. Well, it doesn't really change it to holy damage, but, you know, it lets it scale with holy damage and deal holy damage. So our Divine Storm isn't really reduced by armor, and it can scale by with spell power. So very fun RE. It's got a very cool looking like effect on it. Kind of like a little bit transparent. So definitely very cool. One of the coolest REs I think that's in the game for Paladin right now. Alright, so that's the gear and the REs. Let's go into some of these talents. Just to kind of go over what we're doing, the goal of the build is to have do holy damage with our abilities, of course, and then we want to also have a lot of healing power so we can sustain a lot of damage, and when we do CC our opponents to reset, we can heal up to full within, you know, 1 or 2 CCs. So we Blinding Light, do 2 Holy Lights, and if both of those crit, then we should be back at full health. And so we're taking Sheath of Light, so we get extra healing power based on our attack power. And we can also heal when we're in our Divine Shield for full, so we Divine Shield. And then we can get off like 2 Holy Lights, and that's usually enough to like bring you up to full. and then you do like a holy, what do you call it? Holy shock after that. Quite a lot of healing. Okay. If you could, you look at the ret tree, it's probably a lot different than a lot of other, I mean, a lot of ret trees that you're used to. You see, we're not even using Vindication or, Heart of the Crusader. I mean, this talent is pretty crap anyways, but Heart of the Crusader, I know, Vindication is a very nice ability, but I didn't really have the talent points for this, so um, I can't really take this right now. We're not really actually going that heavy into our Hammer of Wrath Exorcism either. I do use this every now and then, but not that often. Mainly we do damage with Divine Storm and Crusader Strike, so I'm not taking Sanctified Wrath either. We're just every now and then we'll use an Exorcism, Hammer of Wrath, but not really all that much. All right, and Protection Paladin, we are taking Sacred Duty. This gives us a 6-second Divine Shield, and it feels really good. You could do something else with this. Like you could put it into some more damage, like maybe you can take Vindication. Actually, this is what I removed Vindication for, mainly just because in Arena, having that 6-second Divine Shield was a big game changer, and definitely worth losing a little bit of attack power for that extra immunity duration. And if you notice, we're actually using Righteous Fury on this build, right? And the only reason we're using Righteous Fury is so we can get the extra healing. Um, this does, however, reduce our damage quite a bit, and it's kind of up to you if you want to use it or not. But I like having the extra healing power it gives, and the 12% increased healing that you get on yourself. There's no other talent that actually gives you 12% as one of these all healing effects done on you. There's a few of them in the game, like Demon Armor. I think that's 5%. Then there's a Rogue talent that gives you 6%. So the Prot Paladin one is the highest scaling uh, healing effect on you. And that's why I like to use this. So we are going full in on the healing, basically, just so that we have that extra staying power. All right, Holy Paladin, we're using quite a few talents here. Just 2 points in Healing Light. That's all I could really afford to use at the moment. And then Sanctified Light. This is so we get a 6% more crit on our Holy Shock. And then when we do crit, oh wait, it increases the healing of our holy criticals, and then it also reduces the cooldown of Blinding Light by 10 seconds. So you can see Blinding Light at 25-second cooldown, very short cooldown. So this talent, very nice to have. Then Judgments of the Pure, just so we get some more Judgment damage and a little bit of cast speed. Judgment, seal damage, and cast speed. And then we have Enlightened Judgments for the range and 2% hit chance. All right, okay, and then Fusion of Light. This is what makes your Holy Shot criticals critical hits reduce the cast time of Blinding Light, so that if we get a crit, basically, see our Blinding Light is an instant cast. And so it is, I guess, yeah. So this is kind of the whole point of this build is we get crits with Holy Shock, we CC with Blinding Light or Fear, and then we can stun. And then we can kind of, the cooldown is so low that we can just kind of repeat until the target doesn't have any cooldowns, you can't escape, and you just CC them forever and heal up, basically. Very fun to do. uh, anyways, one downside is that I guess if you don't get a crit, then you can't actually cast this. I mean, because you're not going to stand there cast this, you're going to get kicked or something, right? Or people are going to like run away. So if you don't get any crits with your Holy Shock, then you don't actually get to cast this ability that often, and it can feel pretty bad when you don't get you do like 7 Holy Shocks in a row and you don't get a single crit. So a little bit of RNG there, and maybe it might be a safer option to go for Repentance over the Blinding Light, so you can actually, use your Art of War procs to do Repentance. His Art of War is a guaranteed proc whereas the Infusion of Light, you need to have a crit. Okay, so that's it for the Paladin tree. We'll go over the Druid tree. I'm using Dream State. This is a really good talent, I think. Even if you don't have Innervate for regenerating mana, so you regenerate 3% of your missing mana every 10 seconds. And then you also get 3% spell crit. And then I actually am using Innervate. So it basically increases the amount of mana you get back from your Innervate. So very nice talent. Resto Druid, we got nothing here. Let's go over to Priest. There's nothing in Priest, right? Rogue either. And Shaman, we have the 6% crit chance from Raise and Mental Quickness. Alright, in the Warrior tree, we're taking Commanding Presence so we can reduce the cooldown of our Intimidating Shout. So it's now down to a 30-second cooldown instead of a 40-second, so it kind of lines up with all of our other CC. We have 30 seconds on Intimidating Shout, 25 seconds on Blinding Light, and then 30 seconds on Shockwave. So every 30 seconds we can do another round of CC, basically. Alright, Prop Paladin, we're using Thunderstruck. So we can reduce the cooldown and increase the duration of our Shockwave. Alright, so that is pretty much the talents. Let's kind of go over the skill cards and what starter abilities I use, what skills are mandatory, and that kind of stuff. Right, so the core abilities for it, we'll break it down into the damage and CC part, I guess. So the core damage abilities is obviously Seal of Righteousness and Judgment of Light. And then you want Divine Storm and Crusader Strike and Holy Shock. So these four are your main damaging skills. And then Exorcism, Hammer of Wrath are kind of like fillers, I guess. I don't really actually use these that much, so. And then for CC, I guess obviously you want a Fear. It doesn't have to be the Warrior Fear. You can use the Psychic Scream or something else like that. But the Warrior Fear is nice in that it's a physical fear. So there's an RE for like say Vanish, where rogues can like get out of your fear. But if you have the Intimidating Shout, they can't actually use that RE. So the Warrior Fear is actually pretty nice to use. Alright, and then we have Blinding Light. You can do Blinding Light or Repentance, or maybe even Wyvern Sting, or some kind of disorient, basically. So there's quite a few disorients you can choose from, but I think Blinding Light or Repentance would be, I guess, better in a way, maybe. I think they have a longer duration and pretty low cooldown. Alright, Shockwave. So you want to have a stun, obviously. Shockwave, very nice, I think. AoE stun, low cooldown, and a high, what do you call it? High duration. Go up to 5 seconds with the RV. I guess if you don't want to use Shockwave, then I'll probably go with Concussion Blow, as it still is a 30-second cooldown and it lasts for 4 seconds. So you could save 3 talent points, go with Concussion Blow. Nice thing with Shockwave is when you actually have the RE proc from Tooth and Nail, it actually has a very long range. You can like so you can still stun people that are very far away, like some casters like trying to run away, you can stun them from pretty far away. So Shockwave is pretty nice for that. And then I guess the rest is sort of just like bonus, I say. Like obviously you want to have for healing, you want to have Flash of Light, Holy Light. But the rest of all this stuff is pretty much optional. Divine Shield's very nice. I mean, a Berserker Rage, obviously that's really nice, but it's not like something you need to have to play the build. I would just say you get your stun, your disorient, blind, or whatever, and then your fear, and then your damage abilities, and you can start playing the build. Alright, so for cards, I've carded Divine Storm, Shockwave, Frostbrand, Innervate. Didn't really have anything else to card here on the golden card. I have these, but I guess Innervate is a very good pick because in longer matches you will run out of mana and you will need to use Innervate. Alright, so For lucky cards, same thing here. I didn't really have that many cards actually. So I've carded Blinding Light, Water Shield. Now that I think about it, I wouldn't card Riptide. I actually did have some more CC. Like I have Death Coil, I think, or Psychic Horror. The one thing I'm missing on this build is one of those horror CCs. So definitely would card one of those here. And then obviously you want Holy Shock, some kind of kick. See, I haven't gotten this, and then it's still max rolls. It's never showed up once. I guess everything else. Water Shield, one of the best mana sustain abilities or skills in the game. And I guess basically you want to start off with, if you're going to card, say, if you want to go Shadow Step, then go card Shadow Step. But if not, then you start with Charge, then Seal of Righteousness, Judgment of Light, and then Righteous Fury. I guess you could go Hamstring and try to, and card Righteous Fury. And if you don't want to use Righteous Fury, then just go Hamstring or maybe some kind of buff or something like that. But yeah, so that's how you start the build. And that brings us to the end. Hope you enjoyed the build guide. If you have any questions, leave a comment, guys, and I'll get back to you. And thanks for watching, and like, subscribe. All right, see you next time.